Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope you're all doing good today. So, something pretty exciting just dropped for fans of Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar. Yeah, that classic farming game that's all about growing crops, raising animals, and running your very own market stall. Well, it just got a pretty substantial update, version 1.1, right, 1.0. And honestly, it's bringing some nice surprises that I think a lot of players are going to appreciate. I've spent some time going through what's new, reading through patch notes, community reactions, and trying to really get a sense of what this update actually changes for the day-to-day experience of the game. So let's talk about it. Like, we're just chatting over coffee about something we both love, because let's be honest, this series always gives us something cozy to talk about. All right, first off, the update is now rolling out on both the Nintendo Switch and PC through Steam, and even Switch 2 users are getting it, which is awesome. If you're on Steam, the update should automatically install, but you can check manually through your library if it hasn't kicked in yet. On the Switch, it'll prompt you to download when you open the game, so it's pretty straightforward. But here's the thing. This isn't just one of those tiny bug fix patches that quietly rolls out and no one notices. This one actually introduces a brand new gameplay feature that adds a fun little twist to your farming life. It's called the Happy Bingo mode, and it's exactly as cheerful as it sounds. So the Happy Bingo feature is kind of like this charming mix between a farming checklist and a rewards system. Basically, you get a bingo card filled with everyday farming tasks, things like watering your crops, catching fish, brushing your animals, or even chatting with villagers. Every time you complete one of those activities, it marks off a spot on your bingo card. The cool part is that once you line up a row, column, or diagonal, you can redeem prizes. It gives you this little extra sense of motivation to mix up your routine instead of just doing the same repetitive tasks every day. And let's be honest, in games like Story of Seasons, it's easy to fall into a pattern. Wake up, water plants, feed animals, go to the bazaar, repeat. The bingo system adds a small but refreshing layer of structure, and it rewards you for branching out a bit. There's also something called a Deluxe Bingo card, which is like a premium version with even better rewards. From what's been shared so far, the Deluxe card can get you exclusive cosmetic items, things like new outfits and gliders, which definitely make your farmer look a bit more stylish while you're running around town. It feels like Marvelous really wanted to add something that doesn't completely change the core gameplay, but gives longtime players a reason to come back and play differently. The Happy Bingo system ties into the nature sprites, who apparently run this adorable little happy shop where you can trade in your bingo lines for prizes during Bazaar days. It's a small detail, but it adds to that sense of world charm that the series is known for. Now, the update doesn't stop there. They also fixed a handful of issues that players have been talking about for months. For example, there was this super annoying bug where after dismounting from your horse, your character's bag color would reset to the default one. That might sound like a small thing, but for players who spend time customizing their farmer's look, that was frustrating. Thankfully, that's been fixed now. Another fix tackled a rare crash that would happen under certain conditions, especially during longer play sessions, and it looks like that's finally been resolved too. There's also been some love given to the pets. Remember how some players reported that after rehoming a pet, the food bowl would just stop working properly? Yeah, that one's been patched as well. Now the pet feeding system is back to working as intended, which means you won't be stuck wondering why your furry little companion isn't eating anymore. It's those quality of life tweaks that make the game feel smoother overall. And while we're talking about polish, the developers also went in and adjusted a few of the audio levels in the game. Some background music tracks and sound effects were either too quiet or too overpowering before, depending on what area you were in, and they've now balanced that out. If you're someone who plays with headphones, you'll probably notice the difference. It just feels more even now. The sound of footsteps, the market chatter, and the gentle music that plays in your fields all blend together better. What's really interesting, though, is that they also mentioned fixing a Unity engine security vulnerability. Now, that's more of a technical detail, but it's still important. Basically, the update ensures that the game is running on a more secure, up-to-date version of the Unity engine, which prevents potential exploits or crashes. It's not the kind of thing you'd notice in gameplay, but it's one of those behind-the-scenes improvements that keeps your system safe and the game stable. I think what makes this update particularly cool is that it manages to feel like both a content drop and a refinement pass at the same time. You get something genuinely new to play with, this whole Happy Bingo mode. And at the same time, the little frustrations that have been around since the last version are finally smoothed out. It shows that the developers are still listening to player feedback, even years after release. That kind of long-term support isn't super common anymore, especially for farming sims that aren't the latest entry in the franchise. The community reactions have been really positive so far too. Players on Reddit and Steam have been sharing screenshots of their bingo cards and showing off the rewards they've earned. Some have been joking that it's Animal Crossing meets Harvest Moon Bingo, and honestly, that's not far off. It fits right into the cozy gaming vibe that people love about Story of Seasons. There's also been chatter about how the new bingo system encourages you to interact more with the Bazaar, since that's where you redeem your prizes. The Bazaar has always been one of the most charming parts of this game, but it sometimes felt a little underused after you got into a rhythm. This update kind of brings it back to life, making it feel like the social centerpiece of your in-game week again. And I think that's worth pointing out because thematically, this update reinforces what Story of Seasons has always been about: community. You're not just grinding to make money or fill up your barn. You're part of this living, breathing market that changes week by week. Having an event that ties into that, even if it's something as simple as bingo, reminds players of that shared experience. It's a gentle push to slow down, talk to NPCs, and engage with the world. Something else people might not immediately notice, but should appreciate. The update subtly improves performance, especially on older Switch models and some mid-range PCs. Load times between zones seem a bit shorter, and frame rate dips that used to happen when the Bazaar got crowded are less noticeable now. It's not a massive overhaul, but it's enough that the gameplay feels smoother. The patch notes don't specifically list performance optimizations, but players have definitely been reporting that it feels better since updating. If you're jumping back into the game after a break, the Happy Bingo feature unlocks once your Bazaar rank reaches a certain level. You'll trigger a small event with the nature sprites, and after that, they'll introduce the bingo system. So it's not available right from day one, but it's also not hidden behind some impossible late-game requirement. It's meant to slot naturally into your progression, so when your farm is just starting to feel established, this feature appears to spice things up. One thing I really like about this edition is how it gives structure to your farming days without forcing it. Story of Seasons games are all about personal pacing. You can play casually, you can min-max, or you can just spend your time fishing and chatting with villagers. The bingo mode doesn't mess with that freedom. It just gives you something fun to aim for if you're feeling like you want a bit more purpose in your daily tasks. You might find yourself thinking, hey, I only need to milk one more cow to finish this row. Or, if I go mining today, I'll complete another square. It gives a nice sense of reward without ever feeling demanding. Now, from a design perspective, I think this kind of update shows that Marvelous understands what makes players stick around. People aren't necessarily asking for big expansions or complicated new storylines. They just want meaningful reasons to log in and play. Farming sims thrive on small loops of satisfaction, and the bingo system amplifies that feeling. It's like the game is constantly patting you on the back saying, hey, good job, keep going. So where does this leave Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar now? Honestly, this update breathes some new life into it. Even though it's not a brand new game anymore, updates like this show that it still has an active, caring fan base and a developer team that's paying attention. I could see this kind of system becoming a staple in future entries too. Imagine how it could evolve with co-op play, online markets, or seasonal challenges. For now though, if you've been meaning to revisit your farm, this is a perfect reason to do it. You'll find yourself noticing small tweaks everywhere. The smoother transitions, the balanced audio, the lack of those little bugs that used to break immersion. And when you finally unlock the Happy Bingo system, it'll feel like a mini celebration.